All right, class, we're going to do a function called lofting, and it's going to be kind of like creating a vase or a jar. So first, you're going to want to go into the Learner Center, self-paced tutorials, and you're going to have to bring up this lesson. You have to look for it. There's about 15 self-paced tutorials, and I'm going to toggle back and forth. I created a new document, and here's my self-paced tutorial that it talks about how to loft, and we're going to first convert everything to millimeters, and my default is inches. So we're going to go sketch, and we're going to select the top plane, and we're going to draw a rectangle with an arc on the top and bottom. And see if you got both windows open, you can walk through this tutorial, the self-paced tutorial, pretty easy. All right, so we got a rectangle. We're gonna measure it in a few seconds here. We're gonna do a 3-point arc on the top and the bottom. Make sure you get the corners, and try to do the best you can on the center there. We'll fix the radius later. Same thing on the bottom. All right, so these arches have to be equal to each other in order for this to work. So you're going to go to the drop down, equal, select both, and they're going to squish in a little bit. Then we're going to measure. The radius is going to be 200, and we're going to page 3, and we're going to fillet the edges. But first we have to make sure everything is constrained, and you're going to see an example of where I did not constrain everything before I tried to fillet the edges. Alright, so you got 3 lines going into that corner. You can't do that with a fillet. It has to have just 2 lines. You can't do 3 lines. Alright, so I have to turn those lines to construction in order for the fillet to work. So I'm going to go fillet, select the corner, and it automatically brings up 8.5 because that's my practice run on this. It remembered my numbers, and then I'm going to select the other 4 corners, and it's going to put in 8.5 for my fillet. Alright, and then drag that out there so you can reference that easier visibly. Alright, let's go back to our project, and we're going to go to page 4. So it's going to be 40 by 100. So you're going to grab your measurement, select both dots, points, 100 by 40. Make sure you select the right ones, because if you select the fillet points, it's not going to work. All right, so if you forget to put in the radius, which I've done, this is not going to be constrained, and you're not going to be able to loft this thing. So make sure that you fully constrain before you go on to your next. So now we're going to create another layer, but it's going to be going vertical in a 3-dimensional sense. So we're going to go with the origin is on the top plane. So we're going to name this middle profile plane, and the entity is going to be the top entity. So all these planes that we create stacked on top of each other are going to be in the top plane entity, and as soon as I do a zoom out, you'll see what I mean. So we're going to make that a 50 millimeter offset, and somehow I deselected the entity, so I have to go back in and right click, and I'm going to kind of fumble around here a little bit, but somehow or another, when I clicked the 50 millimeter offset, I deselected the plane. So sometimes it's good to hide the planes you're not using, which is the right and then the front. That way you can kind of get a better idea where you're at. And so you can see when I hover over there, it tells me what my mistake was. And this is good a learning opportunity here. So I'm going to go edit, and I can see that my entity or my top plane was not selected. So now that it is, it creates that plane stacked on top of my point of origin, which is the selection of the top plane. All right, so now I got to create this oval ellipse on the plane I just created, and with a ellipse, you have to select 2 points to place that on there. So you're gonna go sketch, and we're gonna select the middle plane profile, and we're gonna go to ellipse, hover over the point of origin, and you'll see the dotted lines mean you have it horizontal. You click, and then you click again for your major and your minor. That's what they call it. All right, so it's there. Now we have to measure it, and the coincident is for the point of origin in the middle of the ellipse. All right, so we're going to call this, we're going to create the name for this is going to be middle profile. So instead of sketch 2, it's going to be called middle profile. But we're also going to measure it. So this is going to be, I think it's 45, I believe. Yeah, 45 by 80. All right, so 45, and then you click both ends, 80, and click both ends, type in 80, that's going to put that right in the center of the plane right below it. And then we're going to click on that little, so it's going to be called the middle profile. So we got to click on that little edit pencil to change the name, and there it is. So we're going to call this middle profile. All right, so we got two layers of this volcano or jar or whatever you want to call it. And now we got to create the top. So we're going to go create plane. It's going to be top profile plane, 125 millimeter offset. Make sure you select the entity this time. So you're going to click that icon that says plane, and we're going to pick the profile, which is the top profile. Offset is going to be 125 millimeters. And let's see, this is going to be called the top profile plane. So click on your pencil, top profile plane. And you may have, objects that you create that have 10 planes. So naming these planes is going to help you understand when you pull this into the technical drawing and do the measurements. So it's important to name these planes. So we should have it. You can see that I mislabeled the first level there. It should be bottom, middle, top. Now we have to refer to our self-paced tutorial on the other tab, and we're going to draw a circle, and we're going to go sketch and select our top plane, head over to the tutorial, and we got to figure out the diameter of that. So the coincident, meaning we selected a top plane, hovered over the point of origin, which is on the bottom plane, And all right, so we got the top plane selected. You can see it there in the dialog box. So we're gonna go center point circle, hover, just draw a circle. We're gonna fix the diameter here in a few seconds. And all right, see, diameter is going to be 40. So we gotta select dimension and click and 40. All right, starting to look good. All right, now we're going to call this the top profile. Click on our pencil, type in top profile, and looks like we got everything else is set, diameter set. Yeah, if you forget to do something and you close this out, you press OK. You can go back to that sketch, right click, edit, and it opens that dialog box. So we have all of our objects created. So we have the bottom of the volcano base, and the center, and then the top. So it's going to look something like that. And so we're going to go a new loft, and then we're going to select our layers, our sketches on each layer. So find your loft, and go ahead and select your profiles, and it starts to build your volcano base, traffic cone, and I think we're going to call this a volcano, I believe. Yeah, because the example they just left it as loft 1. So all right, so we're going to call this volcano. Then click OK, and there it is. So then if you want to create the or define the materials used, you right click on part 1, go to assign material, and you don't have anything in your library yet, and then you can scan down, and there's like steel, carbon, mercury, different stuff that you can pick, and then you want to make sure that you spell that out on your graphing notebook, and that's it.